and Vince also has strong beliefs in regards to the Federal Reserve. And Vince, being the tech wizard that he has everything all up and ready to go. There won't be any divergent items in regards to the tech world. Everything will work smoothly. So Vince, welcome.
Morning, everybody. Today we're going to talk about Christmas. We're going to talk about it in a little different light than you're normally used to hearing. Today's agenda. First, we're going to talk about a whole lot of different kinds of Christmas symbology, different things like where do we get these things? Why do we talk about where do we get Santa Claus? Why do we talk about reindeer? And why do we give presents? And why do we pick these dates and that kind of thing? Why do we do these things? I want you to kind of rethink Christmas, what it's all about, and think about how you celebrate it. Why do you celebrate it? And I'm going to blow your freaking mind. That's right, Jim. That's what I'm going to try to do today. All right. This right here is a mushroom called the Amanita muscaria. It's known as the holy mushroom for thousands of years in Arctic areas. It is hallucinogenic. It is red and white. Very, very common colors. Most common color. When you think of present, think of red and white. When you think of Christmas, you think of red and white. Guess what? It grows underneath pine trees. What's underneath pine trees? Your presents. Your red and white presents. And when you take it, you have fantasies of flight, like flying, like you're flying. Other things are flying, like reindeer or something. These are the Sami people. They are in the Scandinavian area, mainly Sweden and Finland. They are reindeer herders. Reindeers. They are ancient and nomadic. They've been around for thousands of years. This is nowadays they kind of just dress up for fun. But in general, Sami people are reindeer herders from Scandinavia. The reindeer love the Amanita muscaria. They seek it out, right? And they root it out. They look for it underneath pine trees. They love to eat it. It doesn't quite affect them quite as much. And it does give them some sort of beneficial nutrients and stuff like that. But they really love it. They root them up. They find it in their nose, and they scoop up the mushroom right on their nose. So if you have a reindeer with a big red nose, that's the one you want leading your pack. Because he's going to find those mushrooms for you. You want those. The Sami people like them too. They do some odd things. Sometimes mushrooms are a little bit too potent, but if you have it kind of in a watered down fashion, it becomes a little less potent, a little less toxic. So it's something they've been doing for a long time. Not done quite as frequently nowadays, but it is something that has been done in the past. Here's an artist's depiction of Arctic shaman from folklore from hundreds and even thousands of years ago. Kind of looks pretty interesting, huh? Man in a red suit, delivering gifts with this mushroom here. They would deliver dried Amanita muscaria around. They gave it as gifts during the winter solstice. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Now, typically in Scandinavia, in late December, you have a lot of snow on the ground. And the front door was always snowed in, so you couldn't get into the front door. So they would come in through the top of the house. They would always have a hole there, too, kind of like a chimney. This is Thor. Looks pretty interesting, huh? There's a lot of Norse mythology that has been mixed into how we celebrate Christmas. This is a picture of Thor. Now, in German, Thor is known as Donner. He's in a flying sleigh. Of course, he's pulled by goats. It's not quite reindeer, but it is interesting symbology. It looks very similar, doesn't it? This is Odin. He flew an 8-legged horse. On the winter solstice, he would reward good kids and punish the naughty kids. Again, awfully similar. Kind of mixed in with what we do, right? This is Saturnalia. This is a pagan festival celebrated in the Roman Empire before the Christian time, right? The festival was between December 17th and December 25th. They had no laws. Do whatever you want. Big, crazy festival. But yeah, sure, there was a lot of bad things going on, but most of the time they just partied, drank, and had fun, and orgies and stuff like that. Saturn, they're celebrating Saturn. Well, that actually represents Satan in their culture. So they're kind of celebrating the bad stuff and debauchery, things like that. They would give gifts of dolls to kids and stuff. because that was a metaphor for sacrificing humans to gods as gifts. Giving up toys. Yeah, so weird, doesn't it? This is Mithra. You'll notice that in all this Mithra mythology, you always see him killing a bull. It's just some weird thing they did. It was symbolizing Taurus, like the end of the Taurus zodiac age. It was a weird thing. I got into that a couple of years ago when I was talking about 2012. If you want to go back to the Wayback Machine on YouTube to find out what it was all about. His birthday was December 25th. Interesting. Emperor Constantine was a Mithraist. Then he became a Christian. It just kind of sad that Jesus' birthday was December 25th. I don't want to get religious debate, but in all of my research, there's nothing to indicate that Jesus' birthday was even in December. If I had to guess, based on the fact that there were herders out at night watching their flock, and there were a bunch of other things that really indicated that it was probably in September, but it doesn't really matter. Babylon, that's another really interesting point. I'd really like you to kind of look at it and research a little bit more as to how we got some of our traditions from what was a very debauchery society that spawned a lot of really negative connotations. From a Christian sense, there are a lot of things like Baal worship and stuff like that that are now seen as kind of demons. Anyway, Tammuz was Nimrod and Semiramis' son. His birthday was during the winter solstice. Everybody was supposed to celebrate his birthday, right? They decorated what they called the Nimrod tree. What you would do is you would chop down a tree, you would throw the bottom of it into a fire, and that kind of symbolized, you did that on December 24th, right? And that kind of symbolized death and destruction, because during the winter solstice, everything is dying. We're coming down to like the worst part of the year, right? And then after the winter solstice, things start to get better. That's why we celebrate. Oh, good, we got through the worst of it. On December 25th, the tree is decorated, and you put presents in it. It represents new life and resurrected, the resurrected Nimrod. Nimrod is currently resurrected. They had nativity scenes. Did the exact same thing. They had you just basically changed the names of a couple of animals, all three had nativities. So conclusions. The way that we celebrate Christmas really has absolutely nothing to do with Christianity whatsoever. There's even a semblance of anything. Just kind of thought Jesus is weird. It's really an amalgam of a whole bunch of different pagan rituals so that people could get people to jump into Christmas, or to jump into Christianity. Like, oh, that Saturnalia thing you really like to do? Oh, we got something like that. Maybe get rid of the debauchery part, but hey, we got that. Oh yeah, we do the same thing at the same time of year. Yeah, we give presents or something. Yeah, sure, why not? And that's okay, right? It's just fun. Yeah? But really, I kind of want you to think about what you're celebrating and why you're doing it. Like, why do we cut down trees and bring them in our house? It's kind of weird, right? And maybe rethink it and think, do I want to do all these specific things? And I thought, it'd just be really interesting and fun to share. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Justin.